So I really love architecture, yes, but in my spare time, I'm actually a gymnast. I don't know how to tell you this, but nothing whisks your cares away quite like a good cartwheel. So it's July, I'm on my bike, and I'm on my way to gymnastics class. Never been this way before, okay, I decided to go the back way. I'm going 15 miles an hour, I can feel the wind swishing past my face, and I am just seeing rows and rows of houses. Houses, little front yard over here, kids playing with a ball over there. But then I turn left on this block, and all of a sudden, the grids of houses break wide open, and there's this huge lot with some sort of circular alien big window thing with overgrown plants everywhere. And I'm thinking, what the hell was that? Some kind of community center? A round building? But it was already in the past. I was zooming by. What was that? Was that really a plaza in the middle of a neighborhood? Welcome to ARCHWOAH with Mason O. This is a story about a mid-century modern church that was shut down in the blink of an eye. Parishioners have nearly 60 years of memories woven into this place. Weddings, baptisms, even quinceañeras. But today it just sits there, under arrest from crappy fencing and weeds. If this abandoned church doesn't get renovated before a rich developer shows up, they could tear it down and put whatever they want there. This is the architectural history of St. Mark Catholic Church in Humboldt Park, Chicago. So I have to see what that was, obviously. So instead of going home after the gym, I went back the way I came and I stopped at that corner. It was massive. Look at this sensation. A stylish yet brawny rotunda with sparkling little tiles and a funky spire between me and the sun. It felt like I was looking at a rare peacock in a zoo cage from 100 feet away. So I'm walking around the church and I see giant stained glass window panes just repeating all the way down. And as I'm looking through the fence, man, is this place overgrown with weeds. They're covering the walls, they're sticking out the fence, blades of grass brushing against my legs. And I'm seeing the moldy windows, and it's just draining my energy, just weakening my mood, man. Is this palace really abandoned? And there's no way for me to get in? Concrete Jesus made eye contact with me from across the garden. He was covered in vines. I was like, wow, I feel like this is some kind of spiritual outreach that I should not ignore. So I come upon the rear of the building on a back street, which is very ugly compared to what I had just seen. It was a 60-foot tall, uninterrupted brick wall, making me feel like a munchkin in this back alley. And I'm like, how is this the same building? Something seems strange about that. How could an architect work so hard to design a beautiful exterior and then do nothing on the backside? The whole rear facade felt like a sloppy afterthought, like as if you were to wear a newly dry-cleaned tuxedo, but the pants are wrinkled. I'm thinking to myself, who is the architect? Is he famous and I don't know? I'm walking through the alley, I'm looking at the rusty fences, when all of a sudden, hey! I'm thinking, oh great, a grouchy Hispanic neighbor yelling at me down an alley. Oh my god. I realized I couldn't possibly run away at this point, because he's already seen me, so I just, hola! He starts walking up to me, short guy, very Puerto Rican looking, gritty mustache, trucker hat, sleeves cut off, kinda got that weary old man face. Do you work for the city? Oh crap, I gotta get out of here. I'm just gonna try to be really nice, and I'm just gonna wrap this up really quick. No, sir. I'm just an architect, and I was just looking at this cool building. He immediately smiled, and it almost felt like he deflated like a balloon with too much air. Oh, see, so beautiful, huh? I thought you were with the mayor coming to fix our potholes back here. And he starts laughing, and I say, our mayor, has he fixed a single pothole in this city? And we start laughing. And I realize, oh man, this guy is friendly. Maybe if we keep chatting, I can ask him some facts about the church. So I wait for him to finish talking about all the gangs he used to ride in as a teenager. And I say, so when did this church shut down? Oh, the pandemic. One day, they turned the lights off and no one's gone in ever since. Really? Yeah, we were so heartbroken, man. Me and my family used to go every Sunday, man. Every weekend here, weddings, baptisms. We're so sad. Maybe someone's coming to save it, you know? And that's when I realized that he definitely does not know the name of the architect. And also, he's waiting on a hero to swoop in and save this building. Poor guy. He's so nice, but he feels like the church is doomed to whatever the city wants to do with it. We finished talking, and I looked at my new amigo hobbling back to his backyard, and I thought, maybe if I come back here and model this place in 3D, that would definitely preserve it before someone comes here and tears it down. So now it's Monday, I'm at work, and you know what that means. Only 60 minutes for lunch. So I am frantically Google searching. I'm on a mission. I have one question. Who is the architect? I'm like one of those hacker wizards with 30 browser windows open and the little ones and zeros in my eyes. And my results just keep showing nothing. Abandoned church, sad Facebook page with grandmas, event calendar from 10 years ago, blah, 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 blah. Nothing. And I'm like, this is so aggravating. This building is so unique and so obviously an architectural icon. Where are the search results paying tribute to the designer and the legacy of the building? But then down at the bottom of like the 8th Facebook comment section, one guy attached a postcard from 1962 of the church when it opened. Holy schmazzoli. Everyone in my office turned and looked at me because I spazzed in my chair. Yes, this is my next clue. There are like 20 minutes left on my lunch break, and I'm like, where did this postcard come from? I'm Googling, I'm typing, I'm reading, I'm sweating. Something, architect, 1960s, blah, blah, blah. Allan Karl? Allan Karl? Is that the architect? Born in Illinois, artist and painter, drafted into World War II, designed many mid-century modern churches in Chicago. I think this is him. I think this is our guy. 5 minutes left on my lunch break. I need to know everything about Allan Karl. Opening up all these new tabs. Architect, painter, blah, blah, blah. Happily married, blah, blah, blah. Died in his 70s, blah, blah, blah. Chicago, Illinois. Oh, look at this. Here are some of his paintings. Wow, well, he is very talented. Wow. Went to college, drafted in war, had a couple kids. Okay, so there's nothing interesting about this man, apparently. God, isn't it amazing how a person's 70-something year life gets minimized down to just a few sentences? 1 minute left on my lunch break. This is the last unread tab on my browser. Allan Karl, Chicago native, military, Air Force, 509th Composite Group. I don't know what any of this Army lingo means. As a side job, he did painting and lettering and sign work. Served under Paul Tibbets. Okay. Paul Tibbets? Isn't that the guy on SpongeBob? Oh, God, no. Oh, okay. Paul Tibbets. Paul Tibbets, pilot of the Enola Gay bomber? What is Enola Gay? Enola Gay, B-29 bomber. What? The bombing of Hiroshima in World War II? Oh my God. The nerves in my arm started buzzing like electric wires. 30 seconds left on my lunch break. Allan Karl drew the name Enola Gay on the plane that dropped the bomb. What the hell? That's what's baked into the history of this church? We have got to take a breather. It took me like 3 days to think straight again after learning that. But finally, it was like, okay, I've seen the church. I've found the architect. Let's save this place. So I'm going back, obviously. I want measurements. I want a 3D model. I want records of this place because it could literally get demolished by next year. So I know the order of operations. Sketchbook, check. Tape measure, check. Pencil, check. And on a mission like this, there's only one final item I need. Collared shirt. Because as you know, when you wear a collared shirt, people think you're a professional. So I was so anxious to jump this fence. There's literally only one way to measure this beast, and that's going to take place inside the fence. So I'm standing there, looking through the fence bars, and I'm looking around, and I can just picture myself climbing the fence and jumping over. I can see exactly where my hands would grab when I leap up. My heart starts to beat 1 millisecond faster. Who's going to see me? Is that lady getting her mail going to freak out? Is there a hidden security alarm that's going to go off if the fence shakes? My heart starts beating even faster. It's a peaceful day in the neighborhood, but I am sweating bullets. Come on, Mason, you're wearing the shirt, you're holding the tools. Anyone is just going to think you're supposed to be there. Just jump the fence, measure it quickly, get in and get out. No one's looking, just jump the fence, just jump the fence, just jump the fence. I grab the top bar, I throw my body over, and I hit the pavement on 2 feet. Quiet. Nothing happened. No one's looking. I'm on the inside. Okay, Mason, it's showtime. You have never seen a 20-something-year-old draw so fast. I was like a DVD player in fast forward. Sketch, measure, right. Sketch, measure, right. Window, door, distance. Window, door, distance. Every single little corner and thickness and width. This is like the fastest I've ever done this. My heart is thumping the entire time, and my head is pounding. Anyone could walk up at any second and just call the cops. Or, even worse, tell me to leave when I only have half of it measured. So I'm light speeding around the building, right? Desperately trying to hook tape measures through tall grass and these crumbly windowsills. And every time the tape measure would flop, I'd have to rehook it. And every second of delay, I could feel the vision of myself in handcuffs crystallizing. I get to the side of the building and there's a double door half boarded up with plywood. It's the only clear view into the church where the altar is. And I just have to see that. I dust the dirt off the window and I cup my hands and I try to look in, and it's so dark I can barely see anything. But holy shit, there's a giant crucifix of Jesus with a beam of light shining down right on him. Oh my God. The architect put one skylight in the roof and it shines directly onto the Jesus statue at the altar. That is profound, and I can't see anything else. It is completely dark in there, except Jesus with his arms wide open. Excuse me, sir. My heart sank like a rock. This is it. It's all over. I'm going to jail. St. Mark's is going to get demolished. And all because I just had to look at the architecture. I slowly turned my head in the direction of the voice. It was a lady wearing pink workout pants and a dog on a leash. I snapped on my politest smile and I squint at the tiny lady all the way over there on the other side of the fence. And I said, "Hello, I am an architect. I am measuring this building. Please don't be a problem. Please don't be a problem." "Oh, thank goodness. Is your company going to restore it? It needs some love." Yes, the collared shirt worked. So I walk over there and I start talking to her, and it turns out she lives in the house across the street from this church and is an interior designer, so she knows a thing or two about buildings. She says, "Oh, we desperately need someone to restore this church. If no one restores it, they might demolish it." I could see the nervousness in her face. Man, what a kind lady. I immediately calmed down and I started agreeing with her what a beautiful church this was. She says, "During COVID, the diocese changed all the maps. This one's not even in their district anymore. They just abandoned us, so now we just look at St. Mark boarded up every day." God, I was making this so awkward. Here's this woman telling me her woes and her history and all this emotional information, and I'm just standing there, some sweaty kid looking at her through fence bars. I'm the foreigner, I'm in her neighborhood, and I don't have any capacity to help with this church. She says, "I'm afraid that if someone doesn't activate a movement right away to preserve this church, any rich developer could just swoop in and buy this place and just do whatever they want with it. And I don't want to see this building go away." The more she told me, the more I realized, man, everyone who lives around here has to live never truly knowing what news they could receive one day about this beloved place disappearing. When she looked at me in the eye and said, "I don't want this place to go away," I knew her anxiety. How many times have I seen a building get replaced with an apartment complex or one of those storage centers? It felt like deep down inside, she wanted to save this building. She wanted to protect it, just like me. I told her I would finish measuring, be very quick, and just get out of here. But she didn't seem to mind that. She wanted to see my 3D model later and asked if I would go to her block party fundraiser. Man, what a true blessing. On that sunny day in July, I felt like I had truly just made a friend. Someone who taught me about their neighborhood and the legacy of their church. She trusted me not to be a vandal, and she encouraged me to document this precious landmark. And that's when I felt like I did have the capacity to help, sort of, a little bit. Joining a cause with someone was easier than I thought. So I finished the measuring, jumped back over to safety, and took one last look at the church with its crazy steeple pointing to the sky. I had every dimension I needed right here in these little sheets of paper to understand the whole architecture. This massive church wasn't such a mystery anymore. It could be built, it could be restored, and it could really exist for 60 years and serve a community, or 120 years. And that is a story worth telling. And how does it end? I don't know. This abandoned shell of a building did not voluntarily give us this information, but we asked for it, and we got it, and what we also got was an obligation. I sincerely encourage you to take defense of any building you don't want to see get torn down. Preservation is active, not passive. There's no telling exactly what's going to happen to St. Mark, but we know that historic preservation and adaptive reuse are an effective art. And if I do say so myself, this St. Mark is clearly an irreplaceable landmark. Look in the description, I've added links to learn more about the latest state of affairs of this church. This has been your wake-up call to stand in defense and renovate St. Mark.